Well, good evening. Welcome to the Bethel College Faculty Workshop on December 8, 2016. In this workshop, we're going to focus on the mechanics of Advanced 360 and how to develop your course and build your course in Advanced 360. We do have a Advanced 360 faculty quick start, if you will, that I have handed out and is also can be found in Advanced 360, and we will go to that in a minute. I'll show you how to do that. But first I wanted to make sure that everybody knows, number one, how to get into Advanced 360. When you're new to Advanced 360, you will be getting a welcome email that will welcome you to Advanced 360, and in that email will be a link that you click on that link, and that will take you into Advanced 360 so that you can establish your profile and build your Advanced 360 profile. You'll be able to put in your own username and password that you want to use, and then you will exit out, and from then on you'll be able to get into Advanced 360 this way. You go to bcva.edu, you click on My BC, and which is the portal for all the different programs that we have at Bethel College. You click on Advanced 360 icon, and you will put in then your username and password that you have established for Advanced 360. And once you enter into Advanced 360, the first screen that you see will be your home page. And in this home page, you'll be able to set up your profile. You'll be able to actually add a picture, which you can see many students do add pictures, and I have my picture in here. You will be able to set up settings for your universal settings that will apply to all your screens. And as you can see, there's different. You may not have every one that I have because I'm an administrator, but you will have capability of setting up certain things that will be universally applied to all your screens through your settings on your home page. You also have the capability as an instructor. You'll be able to clone one course to another course. And this is very useful, of course, if you teach the same course in another semester. You'll be able to clone your course and won't have to establish every lesson again in the new course. You also have a link to the library catalog, and you'll also be able to go into the link to the student portal and the faculty portal, which we call My BC, which gives you access to all the different programs and opportunities here at Bethel. First, I wanted to show you from the home page, this top banner will follow you throughout all your different screens. So you always have this top banner. We have a communities link that allows you to go into communities and allows you to get into some faculty training for Advanced 360. It's called, you won't have all of these communities probably show up, but you will have the Advanced 360 faculty training show up. And when you click on that, you will discover that you can go on Advanced 360 for some additional detailed training. Click on Lessons, and then click on the lesson Advanced 360 Faculty Training. And what will load up is several short videos on the different aspects of the Advanced 360 and the different screens and the different functions for faculty training. You have your overview and your home page. You have repository resources, test building. You have course tools, video. You have how to build lessons in the courses. And so these are detailed videos, tutorials that actually come from the Advanced 360. And that's under communities. So now let's actually go into your course. You can see that there is a tab labeled courses. You click on the tab labeled courses, and then all of your courses will show up that you've been involved in Advanced 360. And so I'm going to go into one of the courses that I'm teaching in this semester, this fall semester, which is 2016-01. If you're going to be setting up your spring course for this spring 2017, it would be 2016-02, and you should see your course listed. But I'm going to go into a course that I built for this fall because I've already built the course, and we'll be able to see what it looks like. So you go into courses, you click on your course name you want to go into, and then you see this is the home page for the course. And in your home page, you have alerts which students will see as announcements. You can click on announcements and you can put in announcements that you want students to see when they come up to their course home page, and they will be displayed right on the front page just like this under alerts. You want to go into settings. One of the first things you want to do is go into settings that's on the left-hand side. You click on the settings link, and you're going to go into settings so that you're going to go into settings so that you can set settings for that particular course. And there's a lot of things that you can do. You'll probably want to use most of the default that's already set up. You can put in a student access date and a student expire date. The access date is the first day that students would be able to access the course. And just remember that any date you put in always starts at 12 o'clock a.m. So if you put the first day of class, which is January 9, 2016, that means January 9, 2016 at 12 a.m. that the course will be available to students to see. The same way with the expiration date. That would be the last day that students can come into the course. As you can see, I haven't put student access dates in, but you're welcome to do that. Description, you can put in your course description, which if you're going to put in a course description, you ought to copy it from the Bethel College catalog, which also should be on your syllabus. You're going to want to probably use most of these as default, what the default ones that are already in the system. One thing that you cannot change, by the way, the grade map. That has to be kept the way it is because it's standard throughout the school. One thing that I would caution on gradebook, you will want to make sure that you have allow students to see grades checked. That's very important because if that's not checked, students cannot see their grades that you put in. So you want to make sure allow students to see grades. And then I also show letter grades to students, display letter grades in full grade book, and show grade percentage for each item. Because I want the students to have the fullest amount of information about their grades. there is a calendar. It's important that you have these calendar boxes checked, show lessons on student calendars, show tests on student calendars, show drop boxes on student calendars. You want all three of those checked so that when a student goes on to their home page, what's going to show up on that home page is anything that's due on that particular day. So calendars show, actually, I think they show for the week, anything that's due that whole week. And so then you click Save Settings, and that will save those settings, generic settings for this course. So after settings, now you're ready to start building your course in Advanced 360. It's pretty important that first you build the lesson plan for the week on paper so that you know exactly what readings the students are going to do for a week, what written assignments they're going to have to do in that particular week. If there's any videos, you're going to know where the videos are stored. If there's tests, you're going to want to know if there's a test. If you have a PowerPoint presentation that you want the students to see, you want to have all of that information laid out in a weekly lesson plan so that you have all of that, so when you get ready to build that course in Advanced 360, you have all of that information, because there's some preliminary things we have to do before we actually build the lesson, and so you have to know that information. So what I do is I prepare my syllabus first before I actually build the course in Advanced 360. And if you go into repository, which is in the top listing, you can go into repository and you can change the repository from your name to global, because there are some things I've put in the global repository that everyone can see. If it's just under my repository, then only I can see. So I've changed it to global repository, and as you scroll down, you'll see there's already some folders with files in them in this global repository. There are two things that I want you to be aware of particularly. There's a folder that's called Syllabus Template. Syllabus Template. If you click on that folder, you'll see there is a syllabus template for online, and you see that there's a syllabus example for online. Now you will have the option to edit these, but I ask that please don't edit these. These are for your information only. So I would recommend that you go into this global repository and you pull up these two syllabi, one which is the template, which you would be wise to save onto your laptop, and then you use that to build your syllabus, because there are several paragraphs in a syllabus that are standard for every syllabus. And so you wouldn't have to you wouldn't have to type them in. They would already be in there in your syllabus as you build your syllabus. And then the syllabus example, you may want to print that out, because that's an example of a completed syllabus for a course, an online course. These, of course, are just online syllabi. The other resource that you're going to find under Global Repository is the faculty workshop for June 2016. This is the workshop where we focused on online and teaching pedagogy online. And so I recommend that every instructor take a look at that and watch that faculty workshop. Sometimes I didn't have all the microphone I needed, so sometimes it may be a little bit difficult to hear questions from the audience, but The presentations are there, which are plain and easily to hear. And so it's a good idea, and I recommend strongly that all online instructors watch that faculty workshop as well. So, and then there's also hints for students that I give, and I think somebody has just come online. Um, let's see, yes, someone is online, has come online, and it's Yvonne Gould. Yvonne, you should be able to see my screen and not my face because I don't have my camera on. I just have my screen on, so it'll show the screen. Are you able to, do you have an audio, Yvonne? It doesn't look like you have an audio. On the left-hand side, there is a little circle that's grayed out that looks like a microphone. If you click on that microphone circle, you should be, I see. Yvonne, are you there? Yes, we can. All right, Yvonne, great. Thank you for joining us. Can you see my screen, Yvonne? Okay, great. So we had just got started, Yvonne, in the workshop, and I was just showing under the repository there are some, and you're going to change the repository. It defaults up to your name, but you want to change it to global because there's some things we put on the global repository that all faculty online ought to be aware of. And one is the syllabus template. We have, and you click on that folder, and these two files will show up. The syllabus template for the online, and I recommend you download that. You've probably already seen it maybe, but you download that and you use that template to build your syllabus because the red is what you put in and there'll be a lot of black uh, paragraphs which are standard and must be in every syllabus. Instead of having to type all of that in, that'll already be there for you. And then there's also a syllabus example that will show you a completed syllabus for online and what the completed syllabus may look like. Of course, you will have the function since it's in the global to edit. And of course, I asked it, I don't actually edit anything there. There's also a faculty workshop that we gave in June of 2016, which focused on online pedagogy, teaching on. So I recommend that all online instructors also take a look at that workshop. So that's what's under the repository, the global repository. Now everyone also has their own repository, and these are items which only you can see, files and things that you upload that only you can see because they're specific to your particular courses that you're teaching. And as you can see, I have several folders under mine. Yes.
Why is when I click my report, my name?
It's not showing.
It's just my report.
You don't see your name under Manage Repository?
It's just my.
Well, you haven't put anything up. You have to go in and put something up in your repository. You can see where you see where it says Files. First, you would want to click on New Folder to establish the folder name. And then you would want to click on Files, and it'll give you the option of uploading. So do you have this part of it? Do you have files and questions and new folders? Yeah. So you have to build before it'll show up like mine. So you click on New Folder, and you establish a folder name, and then you just establish the folder name. You can change the icon if you want to. You can even do a little description. You want it to be top level, and you submit. And then that creates the folder. And then once you create the folder, then you can go in and you can add files. See, new file? you click on New File, and you can add the files. You say New File, and it'll ask you whatever you want to call it, description, and when you click on Browse, it will go to your computer. And
Question.
yes.
My course is showing, is that the reason I put the course name, not my name? Is that what is showing on the folder? I have a folder, but I name it
Oh, that's fine. You
course
can,
name.
yeah, that's what I do with my repository.
Okay. But still my new one.
When you go into Manage
Uh-huh.
Repositories for,
It has nothing to do with the folder for my course name? No.
no, you have to actually establish it in the
I
repository.
haven't done.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, good. So that's your repository, and we're going to talk about that more. So you create your folder, and then you click on Submit, and then you upload your files. Now, if you have a PowerPoint presentation that you want to show or to have students be able to view, you're first going to have to upload it in the repository before you can put it in the lesson, because the lesson is going to pull from your repository. So the repository is just like a file folder that you're going to put everything in it that if you have documents that you want students to see, or maybe you did a PDF for a journal article or something that you want to have for one of your lessons. Anything like that, PowerPoint, anything like that will go into the repository first. And then you pull from the repository when you want to put it into a lesson. Does that make sense, Yvonne? Yvonne? Okay, great. If you have any questions, Yvonne, just break in. So first, you want to, step number one is that you want to build your week's lesson. You want to, and as I said, I build the syllabus first before I start building the lessons in Advanced 360. And then you want to put everything in your repository that you're going to need for your lesson. Everything, I mean, documents, Word documents, PDF documents, PowerPoint documents. If you have a particular movie clip or something that you want to load up, an MP4 or something that you want to load up, then you would put that in your repository first, and then you would pull from it when you build your lesson to use it. You do not have to put YouTube videos in your repository, because there is a way you can go directly and pull them into your lesson. So if you have a YouTube video, which I use a lot of YouTube videos, you don't have to put that. But let's say you have a MP4 recording some video that you want to use in your lesson, then you're going to have to put it in. If it's not in YouTube, you're going to have to put it in your repository, save it in your repository, and then pull from it for your lesson. So step two is build your repository for the documents, the PowerPoints, videos that are not YouTube that you want to use. Step three then is you're going to start building your discussion post. And the way you do that is you're going into courses. You're going into your course, and I'm going to use one this semester that I've already built so you can see what it looks like after it's built. And you're going to go into discussion, because we're building our discussions now. And remember, for online courses, we ask that each week you have a discussion. So we're going to go into a discussion. This is discussion home, and you can see these are all the discussion posts I've already built for this semester. What you're going to do, though, is click on New Post. You're going to click on Title, and then you're going to actually put in the title that you want to call. I normally do Week 1 post, because when I teach the course again, I want to pull everything over, so I don't put any dates on posts or anything. So I put Week 1, and normally that's or Module 1. however you want to call it. You could even give it a name if doesn't
Chapter
matter.
title.
Yeah, you could give it a title of some sort for that week, maybe the subject of that week, if you would like to. The body is the actual question that you're asking the students to respond to. And in here, I also put the instructions on, it must be from 200 to 300. The initial post must be from 200 to 300 words. It must be online, posted by Wednesday, 11:59 p.m., and any other instructions I might have. And the way I do that is I pull those instructions directly from my syllabus that I've already built and just cut and paste, copy and paste them in here. I rarely have any attachments. The comment view is very important. In other words, what it defaults to on, but I like to always change it to after commenting. What that means is students, when they make their initial post, will not be able to see any other student's post. They'll have to make their initial post first, because I don't want them looking at what other people have said on their initial post before the student does his or her initial post. I want it to come from them, not being pulled from other people. So I changed the comment view to after commenting, which means they can't
For the
see.
discussion post.
Yes, they can't see the original discussion post when they put it until they submit their original. Once they submit their original post, then they can see everybody's original and response post. You can tag it with some keywords if you want to. Visibility is publish. If you have it in the draft, the students can't see it. Now you could keep it in the draft if you want, but then you got to remember to go back in each week and change it to publish. So I just publish it from the beginning. You could have a start date and an end date, but please remember that this start date and end date starts the day at 12 a.m. and the end date is the day you put in, 12 a.m. So if you want something to end on January 9th at 11:59 p.m., you need to put in the end date of January 10th, because January 10th at 12 a.m. is when it'll stop. Yeah. And then you click submit. And that will build the shell for your discussion post. And so let me go in and show you. Let me go in and show you what a discussion post looks like after it's built. I'm going to go into my week 1 discussion post. I'm under the discussion home. This is what you're going to see in the discussion home. And this is the discussion post for this one. The question was, and this is what you're putting in that instruction box, that description box. This was the question, and then the students then put in their comments, and all the other students commented and responded. The norm is that a student must put in an original post to answer the question, and then they must respond to 2 other student posts. And what we're also asking is that faculty also get engaged in the discussion post. And as I scroll down here, you're going to see that I also respond to some students as well. What may be a fair estimate is that maybe 3 responses. Each week, a faculty should do at least 3 responses. Yeah, pick out 3 students or something.
Not 3 each.
No, pick out just 3 students and give a response so that you get engaged in the discussion as well. And what I like to do is maybe ask questions that would hopefully drive the students to another thinking point or something. And so that was a week's worth of discussion for that particular class. Are there any other questions or comments? Any questions about building your discussion post? So as you can see, um, what I like to try to do is build them all in the beginning, but you don't have to do that. If you decide to build them week by week, build your lessons week by week, you just have to make sure that discussion post for that particular lesson is up in under discussion, or you won't be able to pull it into your lesson.
But do we have a way if we want to put it there in advance and students won't
Sure.
see?
Yeah, then just label it as draft.
Draft, okay.
Students can't see it until you publish it. So you're building your discussion post is step 3. Step 4 then is you want to build your grade book so that your assignments can be linked to items in your grade book. And so the way you do that, yes, Yvonne, did you have a question? Oh, surprise. Well, what's going to happen is when you grade the assignment, then it's going to automatically put that grade in the grade book for you. So you click on Gradebook, and as you can see, this is the Gradebook page. First thing you want to do is click on Gradebook Categories. Gradebook Categories. And from the Gradebook Categories, there should be, these are the titles of your main assignments that are in your syllabus. For example, I have in this particular class, I have online discussion forums, and there's 15 of those, but they're all grouped under the category online discussion forums. I have weekly assignments, and there's 15 of those, but they're all grouped under the category weekly assignments. And then I have a journal article that they have to read and give me some feedback on. And that's just under its separate category, journal article. And the best way to figure out what the categories are is from your syllabus, you're going to be listing the percentages of each of these main categories. And so those will probably be the categories that you list in here. So you've listed your categories, and then you update. And then you're going to go back and list the weights of each of these. Gradebook weights. And so as you can see, I had a mock test, which I didn't want to include in the grading. But my online discussion forums were worth 30% of the final grade. The weekly assignments were worth 60% of the final grade, and the journal article was worth 10% of the final grade. And so it's important that you put these gradebook weights as well as these gradebook categories in your gradebook. And then you click on, now you can assign different weights if you care to. You can have assignments, like I had 15 weekly assignments, and if I cared to, I could have different weights assigned to each of those, and the computer will automatically calculate it based on the fact that the overall is 60. But each one of my assignments were weighted the same, so I didn't have to do anything.
Question.
Yes.
Is it normal that the week assignment is not in order, like 1, 2, 3? It's like
Yeah, that you can actually make that order yourself. It doesn't matter.
But
But
mine
you,
is not too. And I'm looking on yours.
yeah,
It's not in order.
no. For this item weights, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
The computer takes what it needs to calculate the final grade. Um, so we have built our categories and we put in our category weights. Now, what we need to do next then is to click on, we go into Gradebook and there's a rubric. See the rubric? Now, if I have rubrics for assigning, for grading, so I want to connect the rubric to the assignment so that the computer will automatically connect those up. So you go into rubric, and everyone has access to these rubrics, all of these rubrics. These are already built, but if you don't have a rubric, you can look at all of these because you all have access to them. You can look at these. If this isn't what you want for your rubric, here's my weekly. I use this one for weekly assignments. And if it's not what you need for your weekly assignment rubric, then you can build your own, where you're adding criteria and you're adding levels. So you put in these and this information, and then the computer will build the rubric for you. If you need assistance on that, you can give me a call and we can go through it step by step. But these are all the rubrics everybody has. So first you have to make sure you want to build your rubric. Now we want to connect. So we go back to the grade book and we want to connect the item, each individual assignment. We want to connect to a lesson. So you're going into new grade book item. You click on that. And this is where you add every assignment now that's going to be added, will be added through this new gradebook item. And I'm going to get one that's already so you can see what it looks like. We're going to open, let's open the discussion post. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Let me go back to gradebook home. That's how you grade them. I need to go to edit to actually look at what it looks, how you build it. And so you're going to put in the name of that particular item, and this is week 1 discussion post. My discussion posts are worth 2 points. The rubric works on 2 points for discussion posts. So my discussion post is worth 2 points. I want to connect it up to the rubric discussion post. I want to put it in the category of online discussion forums. Remember those 4 categories I had? So every assignment has to be assigned to a category. So this is an online discussion post and it falls under the online discussion forums. I'm not giving anybody any extra credit for it. I want to allow the students to view the grade. I could also show letter grades with the percentages, but I don't think it's that important. Now, map to discussion post. If you click this for your discussions, you'll be able to grade separately the original post and each of the responses and put in information separately. I don't map them because I wait to the end of the week and then I grade all the original as well as the 2 response posts with the 1 rubric that I used. And then you submit. And that then assigns that item, tells the computer that week 1 discussion post, when I grade it, goes into the grade book under week 1 discussion post with the points that I've assigned. And it'll automatically, if I give them 2 points, it'll automatically convert it to 100% because that's the total amount they could get. And so that is building a grade book item. And so you continue to do that for all your assignments that you're grading. Every assignment will have a name, will have the possible points for that particular assignment. If you're using rubrics, we'll assign it to a rubric. If you're not using rubrics, then you just leave it at the default none. But everyone, see the asterisk? That means it must be assigned to one of your categories. Yeah, and that makes sense because that's the only way the computer knows. Yeah, how to get the final grade. And please make sure you allow student to view grade, because what's the point of grading it if students can't see the grade or the feedback you give? So that, and then you just keep repeating that for every assignment item that you have. And then the next step, step 5, is to build the drop boxes. And the drop box is the place where students are going to turn in their written assignments, not the discussion posts, because those actually go online. But that, let's say they have a writing assignment, a research paper, they have a reflection paper. In order to turn those into you, they're going to use the Dropbox. And so you're going to build drop boxes for every assignment. Every assignment has a Dropbox. And the way you do that is you click on Manage Dropboxes. And you add Dropbox. And so you're going to add a Dropbox for every written assignment that you're asking students to turn in. And so here again, you're going to give it a name. You're going to, if you want the Dropbox name, I normally say week 1 written assignment, or journal article, reflection paper, or whatever, or research paper, whatever the assignment is called. That's what I put under the folder name. I leave the file prefix. I don't care what prefix the computer assigns to that assignment when it comes in the Dropbox. Gradebook item, you want to select that because this is how the computer knows to take that assignment that's put in this Dropbox and assign it to this gradebook item. So if it was assignment 12 that they're putting in this Dropbox, that's what I would put in there. The gradebook item would be assignment 12, which is what I called that item. You can restrict the display on these Dropboxes so students can't access the Dropbox until a certain date, or they can't, and they can only display it during these dates, between the following dates, if you want to put dates in. I don't do that because I've discovered that if I put in dates, then when I clone this course to another semester, I have to remember to go into all of these dates and change all the dates. So I don't put dates in because I don't care if that means students will always see the Dropbox. Well, I don't care that they can see the Dropbox before it's due. If they want to give me something before it's due, I'm not looking at it anyway until I get ready to grade that assignment.
And on that specific week.
That's right. And I don't care if they put something in the Dropbox after the assignment was due, because I've already graded it and I don't go back and look at any of the Dropboxes after I grade. So people just get a 0. So I don't care that the Dropbox is displayed for the whole course. So, and then submission restrictions. You can also have submission restrictions. They can only submit it at a certain time. Here again, I don't care when they submit it. If it's not in on time, I'm not looking at it anyway, and I've already given them a 0. So I don't care that there has to be any restrictions on the submission. And then you could put, if you want them to submit more than once, you could put a number in there. But I don't do that. Okay.
What about for late assignments?
For late
You can
assignments,
still change that 0 when they submit.
that's right.
Okay.
So if they give me a late assignment and I've allowed them to submit a late assignment, then I just go in and change the 0 to the, or I just go in and grade it, and it'll automatically overwrite
But
the
late
0.
papers won't be classified on 100% scale.
Right,
Grade.
there is a reduction in grade, but all of that should be specified in your syllabus. You should record all that in your syllabus. So that's how you build your drop boxes in. And as you can see, of course, since this class is almost over, you'll see that I have drop boxes already through the entire course. And you can see all of these are zeros because once you grade an assignment in a Dropbox, then it doesn't show up as a number anymore. So are there any questions so far? Those are the main elements that you want to build before you actually build your lesson. Now, if you have tests, you'll also want to build your questions for your test. And what you do with that is you actually start with your repository. And you build and you see the option for questions in the repository. You click on that option, and then there's folders for different questions. And you actually go in the repository, and in that folder, you click on that folder, and you actually build your questions. It says new question. You select, and then you can select multiple choice, true or false, multiple answer, matching, ordering, fill in the blank, or essay. You have all those options. And you click on that option, whatever it is, and then you just simply put in the question, and you'll just follow the menu to actually build these questions. You can see that I've built these questions. This one is a true and false question, I do believe. And so the question was, the parables should be considered as allegories, and the student, you could have feedback that you give for both correct and incorrect. You select the answer that's correct, which was false, and you put in the other true, and then you just save and return to the question bank. And then you just keep doing that, and you just build all your questions.
Why I don't have that? Because I haven't.
Because you haven't put in the test.
Go to new folder. Then
You go to questions, and then new folder, and then you put in the probably course name, or maybe it's a particular test name, test 1.
Like that.
Or if you have a test every week, however you want to name it. So when you get to it, you'll be able to understand that's the one I want. That's the test I want. Okay, now you're ready to actually build the lesson. And so you're going to find how easy it is to build a lesson because you've built all of these elements that you need. Now you're just going to pull them in to the lesson itself. And so you go back to course, and we're going to go into the lesson function that's on this tab. You click on lesson, and as you can see, I've built 15. We have a 15-week semester, so I had 15 weeks of lessons. What you would do is you would click on add new lesson, and then you would build the lesson. You would title the lesson, and I normally say week 1. The start date and end date, due date is important here because this is going to show up to the students, and I'll show you that in a minute. So my weeks and most weeks start on Monday. And so if this were the first week, it would be January 9th. You click on this and you can use the calendar to actually go to January 9th, and you click on January 9th. Now what that means is that's 12 a.m. on the 9th. This lesson, it'll say 12 a.m., it'll say January 9th, which means 12 a.m. And then your due date, that's the date, which is normally Sunday. So it starts on January 9th, so it would end on January 15th, would be that week one time frame. You put in your lesson description, and then you publish it or draft it. If you don't want the students to be able to see the lesson until you're ready to show it to them, then you draft it. I don't draft. I draft very little. I publish everything because I don't care if a student goes in and sees a lesson before the week begins. Maybe they're working ahead, or maybe they have a schedule such that they have to do a couple weeks this week because next week they're full up and can't do anything. So they want to see what their assignments are so that, yeah. So I always publish mine. So, but it's up to the instructor what they want to do. So let's go back in now to our lesson that's been completed. That just puts the shell of the lesson. So once the shell is up, which is under settings, let me show you what I put in for week one. You can see I put in week one, I put the start date, the end date. My lesson description was the need to interpret. This is a Principles of Bible Study, and I published it like that. And so you can put in a description, you can talk about, what the main focus will be for that week, or however you want to do that. Once you have the shell established, then you click on content, and that's when you start pulling in and building your lesson. You see the first block here? Well, that's what we put in when we built the shell. And see these dates that show up to the students? It says the lesson should be started by and all items are to be completed by. And then whatever the description was that you put in will show up to the students like that. And then the way you add content is that you click on content. And then this will give you the ability to add things to that lesson. You normally give it a title. And what I normally do is, normally I want students to read chapters in the textbook, maybe to read something else. So normally I start with reading the chapters in the textbook. So the title for me is normally read. And then under the instructions, I tell them what, read from text, read from Fee and Stewart chapters 2 and 3 or something like that. Whatever the instructions are for that particular element of your lesson. Now this is where you can pull in. You can pull in, let's say you have a PowerPoint that you want and you put it in the repository. This is where you pull in that information for this particular element. Let's say you want them to view a PowerPoint. So you're going to have instructions here, review PowerPoint or something like that. And then you're going to pull in that PowerPoint from your repository. You're going to click on My Repository and the select folder. You're going to go in and you're going to select your folder. And then you're going to go in and actually select the files. And you would probably have like a Parables PowerPoint. You would select that file. And then you would want to make it active so that the student can see it. Inactive means the student cannot see it. And then you submit. And once you submit, then this is what it's going to look like. I don't want to submit it because we're just giving an example here. But this is what it'll look like once you submit. Then you're going to start seeing these green boxes. This was the title. This was the instructions that I gave them. And since there was nothing that I wanted to pull in, there's no box to click, a gray box like there is here under the discussion post, but we'll get into that in a minute. The next thing I wanted them to do was view a video, which I pulled in from YouTube. And the way you do that is that you simply, I just called it view, and this lesson is still in week 1, is the lesson that they're doing this under. All I did was say view the fee video, the need to interpret, and then I clicked on, remember when we click this, you get all sorts of options? Well, I clicked on YouTube, Google, and other external video embed, and then I copied and pasted from YouTube the embed. Do you know how to embed from YouTube? I can show you that. Let's go up to YouTube. By the way, I love YouTube because I get a lot of my videos from YouTube. And so it's an excellent source to do that. So let's just click on any one of them. I mean, I don't want one that's about 20 million. Let's just do this one. So you actually go into the video and you can see in the video that it's going to share. Do you see the share? It's underneath. The video is here. It hasn't come up because it's a little bit long. It's 58 minutes, so it hasn't come up yet. But there is a share button underneath every video. You click on the share, and there should be an embed. See this embed emblem? This embed button? You click on embed, and it's going to give you what needs to be copied into Advanced 360. See this? It's already highlighted for you.
I'm David Suchet, and I'm on a journey around the Mediterranean, following in the footsteps of a man who
So you just, if it's not highlighted already, you just want to highlight it. But normally it is highlighted already. And you just copy it, and then you just take it back to Advanced 360, and you just paste it into this frame. And then that actually embeds the video in your lesson. So students don't have to go to YouTube to find it. It's right there in the lesson for them. And then you just submit. And that builds that particular item in your lesson. And so this is the way it looks when the students open and see it. And they just click on the arrow, and then they can watch the video because it's already been embedded. And then your discussion post, you're going to add content at the top, and then this is going to, your title, I call it discussion post. This again is in week 1. And then here I put not only the question, but I put all the directions on what they need to do, even the number of words required in the initial, and the number of words required in the response, and also the time frames that they're due. I just copy and paste this because it's in my syllabus, so I just copy and paste it in here so that every week they know exactly what they have to do for that discussion post. and you go down to Content Selector, and since this is a discussion post, I want to pull in that discussion post that I have already built when we went into discussions. And you click this, and then you click, this is a discussion post, so you're going to take it from your discussion post, and this is the week 1 discussion. So all of these options will come up since you've already put them in Advanced 360. All you're doing is just pulling it into your system. So that's, I'm getting feedback. Are you recording this some way? Okay. We'll see how that sounds on my recording. Okay. So you're going to do that for each lesson each item in your lesson that you have to build. So that was the discussion. I did a read, the syllabus, read the text. This one, no, that's okay. This one is, I pulled in a YouTube to view it. I did my discussion post, and now I have an assignment that I want to put into this week 1 lesson. And so you do it just the same way. You add content, and this this add item to lesson will come up, and you just put in what it is that you want to put in. Remembering that the instruction, remembering that the instructions are what you put in that description box, and that's what shows up. And then, well, let's do let me show you. You want to make sure you have a Dropbox assigned to this assignment, because you want the students to be able to put a Dropbox. You want the students to be able to put their assignment in the Dropbox. So it's basically the same thing, except when you get to Content Selector, you're picking Dropbox because you've already developed the Dropbox for week 1 assignment. And then you put in week 1 assignment, and then you put in submit. And so that's the students then have this Dropbox that's right under the instructions. They don't have to go anywhere else. It's all right here under the lesson. Everything they need for that week's lesson is right here. Are there any questions about building the lessons? Yes. Now, there is some video. I'm going to put this video up in Advanced 360, this recording. I'm also there is also one that comes out of Advanced 360 for faculty, which I think I went over that real quick, Yvonne, when you came on. So that's under the communities. You go into communities, and you go into Advanced 360 faculty training. And you're going to go in to lesson. And you're going to see Advanced 360 faculty. That was developed by Advanced 360 themselves. And those are about 4 or 5 videos on the different functions. I sort of gave you an overview. They may give you a little more detail. And also, I'm going to put up here. No, I'll put in the repository. I'll put in the repository this workshop video as well. But you already have a faculty workshop on June that's under the global that you can look at, and then this one will be under the global as well. You have a faculty workshop on June, and then you have your template syllabus, if you remember, as well as an example. So that basically is enough to build a lesson. You also have a mailbox where you can send out mail, and students do send mail through this mailbox. Some instructors ask students not to use the Advanced 360 mailbox, but to use to email them on their email address that's in the syllabus, because an instructor cannot reply from his or her general email box when a student uses the Advanced 360. The instructor has to go into Advanced 360 to reply. So some instructors say it's just easier and faster. I'll be able to reply faster if you have a question, use my bcva.edu email address and not the mailbox that's in Advanced 360. However, I've responded to students so many times in my normal bcva.edu, I already have their email address. So when they send me something in Advanced 360 mailbox, it does show up in whatever address you have listed under your profile in Advanced 360. You just can't reply because you don't have the reply email address. So you're very welcome to instruct students to send emails to you through your bcva.edu. You do have a contacts, you have a calendar that you can develop. You don't have the admin, obviously. Now, when you go into home, you do have a profile that you can build, and you can put your picture up there. My profile, so you can put your picture up there. You can, there's other things you can put in there. So that's really an overview of Advanced 360, which was what the point of tonight was. Does anyone have any questions or comments they would like to bring up? Because if you have a question, likely someone else has a question as well. So everyone's good? Oh, you have my cell phone number. Everyone has my cell phone number. Yes, it's 757-508-9038. And that's my cell phone. So you can call me. It's basically, I normally have it with me. It's almost 24/7, except when I'm asleep. So please don't hesitate to call me if you're in the middle of trying to do something and it's 8 o'clock at night or something. Don't worry, just give me a call and we can work through it. Right. Well, I appreciate you all for coming to this workshop. I know it was very short notice, but I wanted to provide a workshop particularly for our newer online instructors before they really got serious about building the syllabus and trying to build the course. I would recommend you build your syllabus first and then you go in and build the course. For the spring, January 9th is the first day of classes. You should also, so obviously your courses would be expected to be up and running by January 9th. Also,
before the 9th?
And not before the 9th, no. You should, there is a meeting the Thursday of that week. There's a faculty meeting, which, yeah, Thursday evening. And I sent that out in an email. I think everybody probably got that email. And I thought that um, I had that email here. I don't. You should have an email that I sent out. Actually, I sent it out twice. That gives all the dates, all vacation dates, and all of that. Okay, good. And it also gives you the program objectives for every course. So please, in your syllabus, you'll see that at the top, after the Bethel College mission statement, which is standard in every syllabus, there is a program objectives section. You need to use those program objectives that were in that attachment to that email for your particular class, because those are geared to course outcomes that we use to measure whether students are meeting our competencies or not. And of course, those course objectives drive your student objectives that are in your syllabus, which drives your activity. You want to make sure that for the course objectives, you want to have activities that will help develop those skills in students. All right. So if there are no more questions, then we're going to end this faculty workshop. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate the time. I appreciate you being a faculty member of Bethel College. We are raising up Christian workers for the harvest. I can't tell you the number of our graduates that are actually working in ministry and that have gone on to graduate school and gotten their master's degree. So we are making a difference, and you all are part of that. So thank you very much. And I'm just going to end in prayer. Father, we just thank you for this time. I thank you for these faculty members, Father, that are willing to dedicate their time and their effort, Lord, to help raise up Christian workers for the harvest. Lord, we just pray through your mighty Spirit, Father, that you just encourage and strengthen them. Give them wisdom, Father, as they teach these classes, as they develop these syllabi, and as they develop their course lessons in Advanced 360. Give them, Father, your wisdom and your guidance, we pray. In Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.